Hey everyone, Leo with the Dreaming Tree, and as we approach the season of the witch, we thought it'd be appropriate to put together a witch. Today we're putting together our jolly jointed witch. She's going to join our jolly jointed pumpkin as well as the skeleton that you can see there behind me, and they'll be partying it up, having themselves a little monster mash. And just like the other ones, it's essentially just a lot of paper piecing, but it's fun and easy and a perfect little project to do with your kids. So I'm going to start from the bottom up. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to start with the limbs first. So each hand is made up of these 4 pieces here. Okay, we also have the shoulder portion, but we'll go over that in just a second. So we're going to take this green layer and glue it to the black layer. So let's start by doing that. And with most of these elements, one thing you'll want to pay attention to and use as kind of a visual guide for placement are the little holes that we've incorporated so that you can make it jointed by use of brads. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use the little hole here as my initial guide, just looking at it visually, and then the rest of it, just kind of follow the perimeter of the black piece and just make sure that everything sits in place. Now the cool thing is we've got this little black layer here, so because the fingers are kind of, well, they're a little more delicate, and having that little black piece back there will make sure that they don't tear off. Okay, so next we're going to go with the patterned piece here, and we'll get that glued into place. And again, now this time we've got, we've got the same little hole there. We'll start there and then make sure the rest of it just lines up nicely. Okay, there we go. And if you happen to have a little brayer, definitely helps to kind of push that down and get it in place. And then we have this little section here, and you can tell obviously we have a big circle here that we can use as a visual guide for placement. Now on a lot of these elements, you'll notice also that I have done some inking just to really jazz this up. And the fun part about inking during Halloween is you can get a little messier and a little more random. And that's acceptable because after all, it's Halloween. It's a little bit more kooky of a holiday. So you can definitely do that. And I do recommend that as you complete a piece, take it and just pop it underneath your mat so that when that glue dries, everything dries nice and flat. Okay, so the other hand is basically the same thing. And I hate to be redundant, but I don't want to leave anything out, so we'll go through the whole process here. And maybe we'll tell some spooky tales along the way. Okay, so again, using that little hole for the brad as my initial guide, and then everything else should pretty much fall into place. Press that down, use your little brayer if you have one, and we'll move on to the patterned piece and get that in place. So I am definitely looking forward to the Halloween season. Actually going to start, I've already kind of started doing some Halloween things when we went to Fright Fest at Six Flags. Taking my yearly trip up to Eagle River for the fall colors. Hopefully they'll be in full bloom by the time I get up there. And the first Friday, going up there Thursday, on Friday night, downtown Eagle River, for those of you that are or know that area, they have a haunted house. It's kind of almost like an indie production. It's not a huge haunted house, but with what little resources they have, they tend to do a very good job. So I'm very excited for my first haunted house of the season. Okay, so we've got the other arm done. We'll pop that underneath the mat here. And then again, this is the shoulder portion of our witch. Okay, and just need to find the 2 layers and get those glued together. So So just make sure you get the right one. It'll fit perfectly as far as you know, the shape goes. Just make sure you get that correct piece on there. Should have just a touch of green popping through there. And use your brayer if you want. And then pop that underneath your mat, let it dry nice and flat. And we'll do the same thing with the other side for the other arm. And it's been relatively warm. I think it's on record. It's been one of the warmest summers in a while. I don't know why I didn't complain as much this year. Maybe I'm just getting more tolerant to the heat. But again, put that underneath your mat. And let's grab a leg here. Okay, so we've got a green backing, a pattern piece, and then we have the actual boot, and then we've got a buckle for each of the boots. So I want to do that in that order. Okay, let's get our glue on the pattern piece here. And we'll get that glued down. But I know the colors, or the weather tends to impact how the colors turn out every year. So I'm hoping that area got plenty of rain and the conditions are just right so we can see those beautiful colors. Now actually here with this, when you put this down, a little bit of that green is still going to be showing through at the bottom, so make sure you don't put it down all the way. Okay, a little bit of that green should still be showing at the very base. Okay, let's get that down and let's glue the shoe. But if any of you are big on fall colors, I definitely recommend that area. And maybe I shouldn't, because then it's going to get really popular and then it'll increase the prices of rental cabins. I won't edit it out. I trust you guys. But yeah, if anyone's in the area, I will be at that haunted house probably on Friday night with a few of my rowdy friends. It's definitely something to look forward to every year. Okay, and then again, we've got the little gold piece for the buckle. You want the little area where the loop is, or the little, that little thing that goes through the little hole. My shoe anatomy is not that good, so I'm going to call it a little doodaddle or whatever it is. I guess I've never owned a pair of shoes with a buckle on it. Okay, so that's what that should look like. Okay, so there's one of her legs. And we're going to do the same thing with the other one. So again, starting with, this is the base layer, we're going to put glue on the pattern layer and then work our way up as we construct it. But again, if for those of you that are near the Midwest, I guess if you're Illinois, or even if you're from Wisconsin and maybe you've never been up there, they've got a lot to do for all ages. I really like, the food is great, the fishing's great, and they've got wonderful antique shops up there as well. I forget what the name of it is. I think it's something with a lantern in downtown Eagle. Or actually, is it? No, I think it's Minocqua. Actually has some great antique shops as well. Cute little shops. They've got some Native American stuff there. There's art galleries. Stuff that you can buy, not like museums or anything, but really cool stuff. Just a great little quiet place to get away. I think a lot of people tend to go there in the summer, but it's definitely a hidden gem in the fall. And that's just in time for a thing called Cranberry Fest too. They do their cranberry harvest, but along with that, there's like a food and arts and craft festival as well. So actually, maybe if you're from that area, maybe I'll see some people selling some of our stuff in their booths. That would be kind of cool. We'll see. Okay, so just putting a little buckle in place now on the second boot. Get that right in there. You can see there's kind of a little bit of a cutout on the left side here where the buckle goes. Okay, so that's the other leg. We'll put that underneath the mat and let that dry flat. And now there's a little cape here that we're actually going to pop dot onto the body. We'll do that later on. There's two little pieces. The two smaller pieces are going to go, well, one of them is going to go right here. You'll notice that there are some little markers here to help you with the positioning of this. This one's going to go right here on the first half of this little scalloped area here. And then this one is going to go on the second little scallop here on this side. But again, there's a little marker there to help you with the placement. So make sure you use that. And then we have this piece here. And this one is the larger one, I believe. That one goes here. It does. And you'll see there's a little marker there as well. Okay. And then this guy is going to go right here, like so. Okay. And that's just to kind of give this a little bit more interest instead of it just being all green. Okay. So we need to glue those on like so. I'm going to start with the large piece here. Make sure you get a little bit of glue out to the very tip of that so that doesn't accidentally snag something and come ripping apart. Okay. And again, just line that up like so. There we go. I gotta kind of nudge that a little bit more. And I'm gonna pop those off real quick so I can pick this up and make sure I've got it lined up very accurately here. That's nice. Okay, then we'll go to the other side here and get our glue on this piece. And get that in place. Okay, remember to use these little markers as your guides here. And there we go, just like that. Okay. And again, this guy is going to go on the second little scallop. It's kind of a reverse scallop. Get your glue on there. And use the little marker right here, like so, just like that. And the last one. Then we can move on to her little dress. And we'll end up on the actual body and face. Okay, so there is the cape. Again, pop that underneath your mat, let it dry nice and flat. Now we'll move on to this part here. You can see I've already kind of got it laid out. We have this little piece of trim that's going to go at the bottom. And you can pretty much tell where that's going to go based on just the shape. It's going to hug and contour the very base of this section. And make sure you get your glue out to the very ends of all these little areas. Okay. And I would use the center of this as kind of a guide, and then look to the left and to the right at those 2 points. And then the rest of it should just fall into place like so. Okay. And I had a little bit of glue shoot out there. Clean that up before it sets. And just run the brayer on there gently. Okay, and let's see here. These are all going to go down flat, so we can glue these together, and then it doesn't really matter. You can do this next if you want. I might as well just do that. See how that fits on there. Let's get our glue on this piece. Okay. And again, using, well, this little half circle up here, as well as the little hole, are your perfect little visual cues for where this needs to go. And then just kind of run your fingers along the edge. Make sure that all matches up nicely. And I had a little bit of spillage there, a little glue shooting out, it's okay though. All right, and then finally, the more detailed piece here. Get your glue on there. I'm just kind of doing a little pigtail, curly Q sort of motion here with my glue. I'm trying to get as much surface area as I can in the shortest amount of time. So I'm just kind of doing circles. Circles seem to be pretty efficient. Okay, and again, you can see here, this is going to match this little outline, and of course we also have that little hole there for the brad, so make sure you use that. And I gotta give it a little bit of a nudge, and there we go. Perfect. Okay, all right, so that looks good. All right, we'll take that and put that underneath our mat. We'll let it dry flat, and we can move on to the main part of our witch here. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to build this from the bottom up. So we've got that piece, and then we're going to go with the pattern, large black pattern, and then we've got the purple pattern, and we've got the hair, then the hats, and that's going to go on the hats, and these are her facial features. We've got this section here too. So start with this piece and grab this piece, and we're going to glue these right on top of each other like so. Let me move these out of the way. Again, now here we are, we're dealing with a large surface area, so try your best to get your glue, especially out to the perimeter in as many little areas as you can, and as efficiently as you can before that glue starts to set. We can always go in and add a little bit of glue into any areas that we feel maybe are just not sitting flat because the glue started to dry or whatnot, but I think so far so good. It looks good. Okay, so this layer is going on here, using the big hole at the top where the string is going to go so that you can suspend it or hang it up as my first visual cue. And then obviously the rest of it should fit on top seamlessly. It's kind of like a shadow layer. And let's just roll our brayer on there. Get that to stick. Perfect. Okay, next up, we've got the patterned layer. Okay, and that's going to go on like this. So again, we've got some real estate to cover here, so I'm going to go and be as efficient as you can here. And as I'm working these little circles, I'm trying to get it out as far as I can. Okay, and we're going to pop this right on top of the previous layer. Okay, so just get that right on there. Make sure you match it up all the way around. And there we go. Okay, so next we've got our purple layer here. That's going to go on like this. So we've got a little bit less real estate to deal with here, so it should be a little bit easier. Again, just make sure you're getting that glue out to the little edges here, especially by the hair. We want that to sit and stay put. This pattern kind of makes it hard to see where the glue is because of all this contrast and these ghosts being all the same color as my glue. But I think I got it here. That's good. Okay. So with this again, just using the hole on top as my first little visual cue, and then just making sure that all the hair strands and everything matches up nicely, and there you go. Okay, so that's the purple pattern piece here, which might be a different color, and that's okay. Next, we're going to do the gray. Okay, so that's going to be her hair. All right, so moving right along here. Again, make sure you get some glue out to the very ends of her little hair strands, especially the ones that kind of, see how they're kind of jiggling around? It just means that they're a little more, just a little more tender. I want to make sure we keep those in place. Okay, again, using the hole on top there as my first visual guide, visual cue, and then just kind of work the rest of the perimeter. Everything should just kind of fall into place nicely, just like that. Okay, had a little excess glue there. I'll get that off before it causes any trouble. And now we're onto the hats. Okay, so that's how that's going to go. Let's get our glue on here. Every layer is getting a little bit easier now. This is a little delicate area here too, so you want to make sure you get your glue on there. And just keep on working it on here. Actually, pretty much almost ready to put her all together. This is going to be exciting. Okay. Just find a good grip on it. And again, that little hole at the top, your first visual cue, and then I'm kind of panning and scanning all the way around the hat just to make sure that everything looks like it's nice and lined up. We really want the black to be nice and centered so that none of those colors from behind are showing through. That is perfect. Okay. All right, so now we've got the little band around her hat. Let me make sure I got this on the right way. What is going on here? There we go, just like that. Okay, so you can see the little tip of this should match up with this little nub right here. You'll see it once you kind of move it around a little bit. You'll see where it needs to be. If you can't really tell visually, once you don't put glue on it first, kind of place it where in the general area where it should be, and then you'll figure out exactly where it needs to go, just like that. Okay. Use my little brayer to press that down, and of course we have a little buckle here. And we'll get that in place. If you get too much glue on little delicate pieces like this where the glue tends to really escape from the sides, just kind of bat it down with your finger. Just dab it and thin it out so that it doesn't cause you any trouble. That looks great. Okay, so that just leaves a few more little elements here. We have a little belt. It's going to go right here like that. Can actually get that glued on now. So let's do that. Okay. And just get that nice and centered on there. Again, you can use the little hole there at the bottom as a guide. I think that looks good. And then we have a little gold element there. Goes around, I guess it's her belt. I think that's what I said. I'll thin that out a bit. And this piece should be symmetrical, so it should just fit on either way, as it does. Okay, great. All right, so now we have our little skull and bones here, and there are little markers on this piece to help you with the correct placement of this piece so that it's nice and centered. And I'm just going to use little dots of glue on this, especially right here at the bones, so that I don't put too much on here. The glue, if you get this white glue, it's supposed to dry clear, but it always leaves a little bit of a glossy sheen. So I really don't want any of this glue escaping the extremities of our little skull and bones here. So I'm going to dab that with my finger. And again, just find the little markers there to help you with the placement. If it's a tad bit off, it's not the end of the world. Just make sure he's nice and centered on there. That looks great. Okay, and that just leaves her, well, we've got a little mouth, and that's going to go on like this, I think. No. That's going to go right here, like that. right below the little black section there. Okay, yep, that's right. So let's get our glue on the back of this. I'm just gonna use a few little dots. Again, this is a pretty small piece. You don't need a ton of glue for that to stick. It's, you know, barely weighs anything. So a little bit of glue is gonna go a long way. And just match that up with the very bottom of the mouth, like so. And then we've got the eyeballs here. We're gonna glue these down to the green section, and we're actually gonna use some foam squares on this to give this a little bit of dimension so it's not so flat. Okay, so let's glue that down. And I just thought about, it'd be really cool if someday I was at an antique shop, maybe 30 years from now, and saw a Dreaming Tree item like this as like an antique. That'd be kind of cool. All right. There we go. All right, so got the eyeballs in place. And now I'm gonna take and I'm gonna find, I've got some smaller little foam squares. I really like these because they're a little more separated on the sheet, easier to kind of peel off. I'm gonna put one right here, and I think I can just get away with maybe just one more right there. Okay, I think that's great. That should distribute the weight even enough. Get rid of that backing. We're gonna need some more foam squares in just a little bit here. And of course, we're gonna pop that right on top of where the eyes are. Like that, there we go. You can see how that little bit of dimension really, you know, well, gives her face nice dimension. All right, we're ready to put our witch together here. Let's grab all of our pieces and start putting it all together. Of course, I had to drop another piece. Okay, so you got this little cutout here. Each of these have a little cutout. You want those to be facing down, okay? So we're gonna take and these sections of the arms, let me grab where are my brads? Here they are. They're gonna go behind the little vest part of the cape. Okay, so let's grab a brad and poke it through this little hole here. Again, this hole might be smaller than what your brad or your brad's dimensions are, but that's okay. It should be able to slide it right in there. And then of course, just push those off to the side. And that's the first arm. Let's grab the next brad. And get that in there. And pop our arm through. I'm just curious why there's a guy named Brad that invented brads. And if it wasn't Brad, why'd they name him Brads? I should probably look that up. Okay, so now we're gonna put this one through this part of the arm. This hand portion is gonna go on top of the previous portion. And we'll flip that over, spread that. Oh yeah, she is looking cool already. I love it. Okay, and poke the brad through, and get it through the other hole here. There we go, flip it over, and separate those. Yeah, she looks great. Okay, so now I've got to grab the bottom part of her dress, and I'm gonna put that together using a brad. So you can actually kind of shake at the hips too, or twist. Okay, so we'll pop that right in there. Don't stab yourself doing this. I just realized that that's a possibility. And just poke that right through, separate it. Oh yeah, boy, is this gonna be great. Okay, and then finally, the brad's gonna go through this layer, and then I'm gonna poke that through here. and separate that, spread them apart. There we go. Yeah, we were gonna do a witch the first time around and just kind of ran out of time. So I'm glad that Ron was able to finish up the design on this. Okay, let's flip this around and spread that. There we go. Okay, so you can technically leave her like this and she still looks great. But what we did was we took and we added some foam squares. So I'm gonna flip her over and got foam squares starting right about here. You can see on the back of this piece here, you'll see some little score marks, or little identifiers to help you with the placement of the cape. Now let me find my, here they are. I've got the larger foam squares here. And when you place these, you just want to make sure that you kind of place them below these little markers. You don't want them above that area. So I'm going to do 2 here. And I'm just going to kind of work my way down. This cape actually goes down to about her waist, so you can definitely add some all the way down like that. Okay, and maybe I'll do one more in the center here for good measure. All right, so let's peel this off and get our cape in place. And that's pretty much it. Got a few little areas on here. We're gonna add a little bit of bling, so you want to take a look at the final photo to see where we do that. But again, you've got the little markers there. So look for those and just pop that right onto, I think that's right. Oh yeah, look at that. Oh yeah. So there she is. There is our jolly jointed witch. That is really cool, actually. Yeah, my pumpkin head's over there. I got my skeleton back there. They are ready for some Halloween fun. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm very excited about our little threesome here. But if you make this or anything from our new bundle, I would love to see it. So be sure to head over to your Facebook and do a search for Dreaming Tree Group, where you can join myself and the 32,000 plus dreamers that inspire us. So yeah, loving this guy. Look at this, or this gal. Very cute. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video, and as always, I look forward to crafting with you again. Hey, thanks for crafting along with me. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, check out some of our other videos, and also please consider hitting that subscribe button. And don't forget to visit our site and check out our free SVG section, where we have over 140 free SVG files complete with assembly videos. I look forward to crafting with you soon.